Hello and welcome to Hot at Home, Your Questions Answered. I'm Jackie and today we have a question from Perry, one of my subscribers. Perry says, I have been exercising for quite some time now, still. Let me rephrase. I have been exercising for quite some time now. Still, the expected results are not encouraging despite the jogging, press-ups, sit-ups, cycling, and on-the-spot running. My tummy is still as round as before. What next do I do? Perry, okay, so first of all, how do you know you're not progressing? You said it looks as round as before, or maybe even feels as round as before, but are you stepping on the scale every day and finding, like, you know where you started? Do you know where you're at? Have you measured have you taken your measurements so that you know where you started and where you're at now? Because when you do have a significant amount to lose, and I'm really not sure how much you have to lose, but when you have a significant amount to lose, then when you're first starting out, it can look like nothing's happening because of the amount that you have to lose. So you look in the mirror and it's like, well, everything looks the same, you know. So you really need to know from where you started before you jump on that assumption that nothing is changing, and know where you're at as well for now. And if you haven't done that yet, then do that now. Measure yourself now, write everything down. Don't try and remember it because in 3 weeks you might not. So measure yourself, remember where on your body you measured things. So like if you're measuring your bicep, well, you want to make sure you measure right in the middle of your bicep, right? So measure the space between your elbow and your shoulder. There's a bone in your shoulder. Measure that space and then find out what the middle is and then measure there. And make sure you measure the exact same spot next time and on the same side of your body. Measure the right side of your body. Don't flip sides because you might be measuring, you know, comparing apples with oranges. Sure, they're both your arms, but one might be different than the other. So you want to make sure that you are getting really accurate measurements before you start taking your measurements and then taking future measurements and thinking, oh, nothing's happening. Well, it might be. Maybe you've measured up higher on your stomach last time and lower next time. And maybe it's a huge difference, but you're just not measuring in the same place. So right around your belly button, right around your hip bones, right in the middle of your bicep, right in the middle of your thigh, so right between your knee and your hip bone, measure your hip bone, measure your knee, and the distance between your hip bone and your knee, pardon me, and take the measurement from the middle of your thigh, same with your calves, between your knee and your ankle bone, that kind of thing, okay, and always on the same side of your body. So first things first, let's find out where you're at and let's find out where you need to go. So second thing is, you've mentioned a lot of different exercises that you're doing, but you haven't mentioned your diet at all. So first thing to know is that you can't out-train a bad diet. The saying is true. You can't do it. You can work out all day long and never burn off as many calories as it's possible to eat throughout the day. I know, I've done it. I've tried to be that person that says, I work out every day, I can eat whatever I want. Doesn't work that way. So you have to get a handle on where your calories are. You have to know how many calories you're allowed in a day in order to lose weight for your height, weight, age, and gender, activity level. So get online and take a look at one of those websites that tells you that. Find out what your caloric range is for weight loss, not weight maintenance or weight gain, weight loss. And then try and stick to the lower end of that, because it is a range, right? And they're giving you a range that will work for the everyman, and you're not the everyman. You don't know where in that range is exactly right for you. So just go play it safe and go for the low end. So if it says you need between 1,800 and 2,000 calories a day, say, I'm guessing, I don't know what your specific caloric range would be, but if it says between 18 and 2,000, say, then go for 18, just to play it safe, okay? Now, the easier way to make sure you don't feel hungry all day while you're living on that many calories is to eat clean, is to eat whole, natural foods, lots of salads and protein, lean protein, grass-fed beef or chicken breast. Eggs are really great. Eggs are great. There's lots of protein in those. Don't be afraid of the yolks. There's more fat in the yolks, yes, but as long as you keep your caloric range where it needs to be, then don't worry so much about the calories that are in each individual item. Like, don't start eating egg whites instead of egg yolks, please. There's way more nutrition in the yolk that will help you stay full, feeling full longer than if you just eat egg whites. It's like eating air, eating egg whites, really. If you eat as clean as possible, with your meals, you know, black beans and stuff like that, not too much lard and stuff like that added, but again, don't be too afraid of fat as long as you're keeping calories in line. You will feel full on less food, on less calories if you're eating clean. I hope I'm making sense. I feel like I'm rattling a little bit here. Please weigh and measure for now what you're eating. Just learn it. You don't have to do it forever, but do it for 3 months for me, please. Do it for 3 months, because the education is worth its weight in gold. Get a reliable scale. Don't use one of those cheap plastic ones. Get a reliable digital scale. They're not expensive. They're only $30 or so. Considering you use the word press-ups, I'm thinking you're probably in Europe somewhere, so I don't know what that is in pounds or euros. But for me, 30 Canadian dollars was what I paid for my scale a couple of years ago. They're not expensive, but get a digital one and weigh everything. And when you're measuring dry food, please be honest about it. If you're measuring a cup, make sure it's a flat cup, not a rounded cup, because that rounded bit is cheating. That's more calories than you're expecting. So make sure you're keeping your calories keep a very, very close eye on your calories. If you keep your calories in the weight loss range, you will lose fat. You have to, because your body has no other option but to burn calories, fat for energy, if it's not getting enough calories from your food. It's just the basic science. So try not to fool yourself into thinking that you can out-train a bad diet. You can't. Get your diet straightened out. Don't eat too much junk food, sitting on the couch eating chips and thinking, well, I'll do more press-ups tomorrow. That's not the way it works. And then the last thing I wanted to point out to you as well, you say you do lots of sit-ups. I want you to know that sit-ups will help you create muscle tone in your abdominal area, but it will not help you burn fat in your abdominal area. What does help you burn fat, and not just in your abdominal area but everywhere, is the cardio exercises and full body strength training exercises that are done in supersets or super circuits, anything that gets your heart rate up. Okay, so you can still do weight training as long as you do it in a way that gets your heart rate up. Sit-ups do not get your heart rate up. And getting your heart rate up is what burns fat. Okay, that's what burns calories better, which is what helps you burn fat. Burning calories is what it's all about. So while you're doing your sit-ups, know that you're toning your muscle, sure, but you're not burning any fat. And also know that spot reduction is impossible. You can't just do sit-ups and hope that you'll burn fat off your stomach, because if you burn fat, it'll happen globally. It happens everywhere. So you'll lose a little bit off your calves, a little bit off your thighs, a little bit off your abs, a little bit off your shoulders, a little bit off your back, a little bit off your chest. But you can't there's no exercise that will make you burn fat specifically in one spot of your body only. When you burn fat, it comes off all over. So if your stomach's your problem area, chances are pretty good that it'll be the last to go. It'll go slowly along with the rest of you as you burn fat, and it'll get smaller slowly, but it'll probably be the last part of you that you feel like you need to lose. Everything else will look good and look like you've lost lots of fat, and you'll see your muscles shine through. But if your stomach's your problem area, you'll still be frustrated with your stomach up to the last moment. It'll be like, oh, why everything else is burning fat? Why isn't my stomach? The truth is your stomach is burning fat. It's just burning fat. It just has more there, so it has more to lose, and so it'll take longer for the muscle in that area to shine through. So keep going. Don't be frustrated. My stomach's my problem area too, and it was the last thing I saw, and that was my goal, was to see my abs. And it was the very last thing I got to see. It was very frustrating for a long time, but eventually you stick with it, and eventually you get to see it. So, so that's my advice to you. Just make sure you don't out-train a bad diet. Make sure you know where you are and where you're going, and don't expect things like sit-ups to burn fat. Get those do exercises that actually do help burn calories, rather than trying to spot reduce with exercises that only really just tone muscle. Okay? So I hope that really helped you out, and we'll see you guys again next time. Take care.